Hi everyone. So in this video you are going to study about the one of the 10th standard chapter, life processes. So I decided to make it into parts. So in this is the first part of the chapter, and in this you are going to see the introduction part of the life process. What are the types, or what are the series of the actions that's going to take place? What are the autotrophic nutrition, heterotrophic nutritions, and so on. I really wanted to ask you one thing, that how can you differentiate whether an organism is alive or it is not alive, or it is dead? So it is simple that if an organism is breathing, we are going to say it is alive, and if it is not breathing, we are going to say it is dead or it is not alive, right? But does breathing alone determine whether an organism is alive or dead? No, breathing alone cannot determine. Let me say one example to you. So you all know about viruses. Actually, these viruses, when they do not get a particular medium, they do not activate. They act as a living one, dead one, and when they get a particular medium, they activate, or when they get a host, they activate and they act as the living one. That means when they do not get any medium, they are acting as dead, and when they get the medium, they are acting as alive. So we cannot say breathing alone determines organism to be dead or alive. So there are some other processes which also determines, which are required or necessary for the organism to be alive. What are those? Growth, excretion, respiration, circulation, nutrition, etc., and so on. So all these are the processes which are necessary for every organism to be alive, including breathing. Every organism should undergo all these processes to get life. So we can say that all the processes like respiration, digestion, circulation, which together keep the living organism alive and perform the job of a body maintenance, are called as life processes. So in simple we can say the processes which are necessary for an organism to be maintain its life is called as life processes. So the first or the most important process for the organism to be alive is nothing but nutrition. Nutrition is nothing but food. If any organism doesn't eat food, it's going to be dead, right? So when we do some work, we require energy. If we are not having energy, we are not able to do any work, right? So we require energy to do some work. We are getting this energy by taking the food, and the food contains the nutrients. That means the nutrients are going to give us the energy. So nutrients are nothing but whatever the carbohydrates, vitamins, proteins, fats, minerals, all those are nothing but the nutrients. So this is about nutrition. That means nutrition is very much necessary for every organism to be alive, and to carry on the life processes, nutrition is also important, or to carry out the other life processes, nutrition is the important one. And this nutrition is divided or into parts, and there are some modes of the nutrition. What are those? mainly categorized into two parts. One is autotrophic, another one is heterotrophic. So autotrophic, you know that auto is nothing but own or self preparation. Here we are going to call the autotrophic nutrition as green plants, they are going to prepare their own food, so we are going to call them as the autotrophs. Heterotrophs, the animals or the organisms which cannot prepare their own food, they are called as, or that kind of nutrition is known as heterotrophic nutrition. This autotrophic nutrition involves two subcategories or two things, and the heterotrophic contains again three divisions. So we are going to see about these things. Autotrophic nutrition, as I said earlier, it is nothing but mode of nutrition in which the organism is going to make its own food. How it's going to make its own food? With the help of photosynthesis. So you all know that photo is nothing but light. Here autotrophic itself says that green plants prepare their own food, right? How they are going to prepare it? With the help of sunlight and the chlorophyll, carbon dioxide, oxygen, all are involved in this process. So the main things to carry on the photosynthesis is nothing but carbon dioxide, water. So you all know that a plant contains mainly three parts: roots, stems and leaves. The plant mainly contains of three parts. So the root here, the plant mainly consists of three parts: roots, stem and leaves. The roots are going to take the water from the soil and also water and minerals from the soil. Carbon dioxide is taken from the atmosphere and chlorophyll is present in the leaves, and in the presence of sunlight they are going to prepare their food, and this process is known as photosynthesis. So this is nothing but 6 CO2, that means carbon dioxide. Actually this is not 12 H2O, it is 6 H2O. In the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, you are going to see the glucose, oxygen and water as the byproducts. So the main thing for the photosynthesis is nothing but the leaves. Leaves contain chloroplast, and in chloroplast we are going to see the chlorophyll. The leaves cells contain chloroplast, and this chloroplast contains a pigment called as chlorophyll in them. So this chlorophyll is mainly responsible for the photosynthesis. What does this chlorophyll do? It is going to absorb the light energy from the sun and it is converted into chemical energy. So the light energy here is converted into chemical energy. It's going to split up the water molecules and hydrogen and oxygen, and we are going to call this process as the chemosynthesis. So what is the role of stomata in the photosynthesis? Stomata also play an important role in the photosynthesis process. So what are these stomata? Stomata, as you know that they are the tiny pore-like structures which are present on the surface of the leaves. These are the pore-like structures present on the surface of the leaves. What is the main work of these pores? They are going to exchange the gases from the plant body and to the environment, and from environment to the plant body. As I said, carbon dioxide is taken from the atmosphere to the plant body with the help of these stomatal pores. The plant closes the pores when it does not require carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. That means what? The plant, it is going to close its pores. Actually, the stomata is having some kidney shaped structures called as guard cells. They are called as guard cells. So these cells maintain the flow or the opening and the closing of these stomata is done by the guard cells. How it happens? As you know that plant takes the water and this water is transported to the all parts of the plant body with the help of the stem. So the water is transported to every cell of the plant. So as these stomata are present in the leaves, the water is reached to these cells also, and when the water is reached to the cells, they are going to swell up. As you can imagine that a balloon filled with water, it is also called, it is nothing but turgid. Swell or turgid both are same. So when they are going to swell up, the stomatal pores are going to open and the pore closes when the guard cells, they are going to shrink. Shrink is nothing but when come closer or they are going to close it, because when there is excess of water in the plant body, they are going to open, and when there is less water in the plant body, they are going to close. Mainly the stomata are open during night time and closed during daytime. So next we are having heterotrophic nutrition. So now before few minutes we have learned that autotrophic nutrition that mainly takes place in the plants itself, and here now we are going to study about the heterotrophic nutrition. So heterotrophic nutrition, it is also a mode of nutrition in which organisms cannot make their own food as they do not contain or they lack the chlorophyll cells or the chlorophyll pigment. So we animals or the fungi, bacteria, all these do not have the chlorophyll, so they cannot prepare their own food. Right. So what we are going to eat? We are depending upon the autotrophs for their food directly or indirectly. Directly or indirectly we are depending upon the autotrophs. That is nothing but we are eating the food which is prepared by the plants, right? So this is the heterotrophic nutrition, and this heterotrophic nutrition is of three types. What are those? First one, saprophytic nutrition. It is a type of heterotrophic nutrition where the organism feed on dead decaying matter. That means as fungi, they cannot make their own food, they depend upon other organisms for their food. Here the fungi grows in soil or wherever you are going to see the fungi, actually it is not going to prepare its own food. It's going to depend upon the dead and decaying matter which is present in the surface where it is present. So second type of nutrition, parasitic nutrition. In this type, the organisms called parasites live inside or outside other organism, and we are going to call it as host and derive nutrition from it. So example, they gave it Cuscuta. It is a plant parasite. As it is one of the plant parasite, it cannot prepare its food because it too doesn't contain the chlorophyll, so it should depend upon other plants for its food. So Cuscuta is a plant parasite, and we can say one more example. Food, it is of complex. It is the complex food material is taken inside and it is broken down into simpler food material to get the energy. So we are going to call this kind of nutrition as the holozoic nutrition, and this kind of nutrition we are going to see in amoeba animals or the man, etc. So we are going to eat the food, and that is of the complex material, and it is broken down in the stomach or the digestive system, and finally it is made into simpler material. Now, how do organisms obtain their nutrition? How they are going to eat it? So all the animals present on the earth are not same. Single celled animals are there, multicellular animals are there. So how these are going to take the food? So coming to the single celled organism, that is nothing but unicellular organism, they take the food by their entire surface. So coming to this amoeba itself, we know that amoeba is going to take the food from the pseudopodia, it's going to engulf the food, and later it's going to completely digested in the body. So this is about the unicellular organisms. In next video you are going to study how the multicellular organisms are going to obtain their nutrition. So thank you.